All right. Hi, Sagittarius. Virgo season. And this season is, before I actually get into that, all information to work with me is below, one-on-one. My podcast is below. And then the second part, which is more like an extended this month, will be in a Patreon link below. We're doing things a little differently, but you'll see in the second part. Right now, you might feel, or you may have came into this season feeling like, what was just shown to me and how do I deal with it? Like something came out or needed to be said, needed to be realized, whether it was something that you've been thinking about for a while or that has been in the back of your mind, and then slowly it like made you feel a certain way every time you didn't understand why or what was happening. And usually you're not someone to get really caught up in that, but this time, because it seems to be about partnership, whether you're in a partnership or not, or in a relationship or not, it seems to be that way. And it seems to be something that maybe has been like a pattern. But with these air signs and with the airiness of this, it's like even though we're in the part about the body, it's like your body is finally ready to communicate what's needed, what's important, what needs to stop, what needs to continue. It's like maybe a new routine is being put in place. And well, Mercury is in Libra, and that could also be why this has become very important to you. This is a lot of cards. What the most important thing to remember is that this month it's setting it for the long term. So yes, Virgo season can be very critical. However, a lot of times it's what we need to hear, and it's what has been needed to be brought to the surface for a while. And you're not a sign that is actually like too hard on themselves for the most part. So when this does come around, you can feel it very strongly. However, you also are reminded that it's going to pass. And it might be important for you to set up more of a spiritual practice of some sort in your life at this point. You may also be indecisive about, or balancing, I should say. There's something you're balancing, because then we have Libra up here holding the scales as well. So you might be balancing multiple things right now, or multiple things are coming at you at once, or whatever it is, and you feel like you're caught between, I'm really okay with where I'm at right now, but I can also change it up, or I can also move forward, whatever makes sense for you. Because this month is showing you where in your life you're done with one cycle and entering another. We have the 10 of Swords, the 10 of Pentacles, and it can be very easy to think that 10 of Swords isn't going to end, but truthfully there's a horizon and the Hangman in between, because you have a lot of major arcana here. So there's a lot of guidance that you're seeking at this time. There might be more guidance that you're wanting at this time, that you're needing at this time. And it's important to take it when you can. And it could be that you develop something, this habit with your body. And spiritual practice, meditation, I do think is very important. However, that could mean, and you obviously don't have to take my advice, but something with your body that you can be connected to it. So maybe it's going for a walk. I love walks. I've dedicated to go for one every morning, regardless if I'm doing more exercise or whatever. It's just something I know that I need at this point in my life. And if you're someone who spends more time indoor, or have been, maybe it's time to get out. Go do something that makes you realize that you've been maybe holding back what you really want, just from yourself. Like there might be more of what you want and you're not allowing yourself to think about it or want it. But then once you do, it's like something emerges from you. It becomes very impactful for your future, essentially, like what's to come. And it's time to be really honest with yourself about, and there could be things being brought up about your body or health concerns that you have to take an honest look at. It's a lot of cards. So that's actually a little bit ways ahead too. So I'm just going to put that aside for a second. So basically this season's showing you what it's important to see for your long-term future. I just heard like this ding, and then it almost sounds like a singing bowl, but it's not. It's more like a noise that I now hear. It's like a sound. But at first it felt like, like a Tibetan singing bowl. So this could be echoed all around you until you actually take that initiative that you need to take. So you may finally feel like, okay, you're in this, like, those mirrors that like just surround you, that 360 mirror, and you just really need to take the action that you need to take. And your mind is, again, caught between this, or you may be thinking you're in between this and you're balancing this, needing to be content and present with yourself, needing to be not attached to things as much as you want to move forward or force certain things ahead. I think that it's important to take a note from your body, because the 10 of Cups comes after that, and then the Fool. So this juggling between is actually beneficial, again, for what's to come in your future and what parts of you that are needed. And the more that you understand how to do this and when to, become a little bit more attached, and then when to take action, that becomes more of a forte of yours. That becomes more of an instinct of yours. And you find that you feel maybe more free in the life that you're wanting to have, and that you're finally like almost admitting to yourself to. You feel like, I have energy now to think about this future because I finally addressed what was holding me back. A lot of times we can hold ourselves back if we're not addressing maybe a bodily issue. You feel like your life's not moving forward, but there's this thing going on inside of you that really needs your attention. And if you're not willing to give it your attention, why should you get, like, where else do you need to be or want to go? But then once you pay attention to that, or it could even be like a conversation with a friend, or maybe even a conversation in terms of your career, these things that come up, if you're avoiding them, it's really hard to move forward because this thing is still blocking you, especially if it's causing emotional tension. And I feel like for you it is. You find freedom in your mind and more of a relaxation and a detachment to any situation that comes up this month, which is great. You get a chance to feel more like Virgo, Sun, Libra, Mercury, where you can see things rationally. And if you give yourself the opportunity, it will be a lot easier. And then you'll take very hefty, intentional, grand steps forward. I just was reminded that at any point that you heal or act differently in a situation when you would normally react emotionally, and you come to that awareness, or you heal something from a long time ago, from your past, and some people, don't believe in that, but even whether it's with therapy or not, you're healing a lineage. You're healing yourself from that time until this time and all that's in between, just by targeting that root scenario. Those things all might come up. They might not either. However, it's healing even your future, because if you didn't take the chance to look at that, your future to a certain extent is already decided for a couple years. Why do I say that? Well, being someone who understands that when an individual person chooses to change something or alter something or become aware of something and want to take action on it in their life, you're already altering or giving yourself another option for a couple years down the line, because it gets stronger every year. And the more that becomes a habit, it gets extremely strong for anybody. So that becomes more of an option rather than just settling for the option that you habitually have created throughout your life, whether you subconsciously or not. So this time clearly is important. I needed a few days in between readings, so I've just added other things to my schedule. The Ace of Swords was going to pop out, so it's funny that this is popping out. What you then realize is that you have plenty to work with, and you're plentiful and fertile grounds for a new relationship, a new task at work, even new work, or existing work that you've been wanting to work on, and it's now calling out to you in many ways. It maybe even feel like you're getting verbal affirmation, confirmation for this. You find yourself wanting to express yourself more, wanting to express your heart more, wanting to express how much you've worked on a particular part of you, or there's something that you've worked really hard on and now you're ready to share. Now you're ready to offer it to people in a way where it could be beneficial to you, making money perhaps, or even if it's existing love and there's been hard work maybe within this partnership that you want to be more direct and clear, and again about what you want and how you want things, and you may find that there's even more love there, or there's different new love to be had. And the more that you pay attention to all of this, whether you develop more of a spiritual practice or not, whatever that looks like for you, it could also be journaling. I do a few different things. There's something very clear about your spirit. Again, you might come into the season heavy, but by the end of it, you leave a lot lighter. There's a lightness that you didn't even, I don't think, recognize until maybe now or from here on out. And it's really refreshing for you, not that you don't get this, but for you right now, because you can make leaps and bounds of this time with yourself. The more you proceed with all of this, yet also get to know yourself. There's another thing I've been reminded of, is to see yourself as a new person, or see yourself through the eyes of a child sometimes. And in this Virgo season, the Hermit, and now like the lighting, the sun is changing. The new moon probably gave you a lot of light and clarity into that, probably rather sharply. And those things only come when we're ready to see them. And if you still have a trigger or a reaction or emotional response to certain things, it's important to take a look at it. It's important to address it, or even just to understand that it's there, that it's something that's happening within you. And through, I think, the moon cycle, so by the end of the month, when we come to the full moon in Pisces by the 10th, towards the end of the season, you may understand why. You may gain a lot of perspective on what you've needed to develop emotionally, and what maybe material obstacles or external obstacles has caused you to not realize that you're exactly where you need to be. And it could be from what you've developed. It could be from a father figure. It could be from a very strong masculine or strong figure in your life who handled money or didn't know how to handle things very well, but maybe you lean on them or you talk to them a little bit more. It's really important that you ask and seek advice from someone who is better than you, if not amazing, in what you need help in this month. And you may find that you'll get the advice you need along the way just by talking about things. But I think the more that you're intentional this month, the more the understanding that you're going to have, instead of trying something that someone knows nothing about. Virgo moon, I will never share or offer something that I have never tried and has worked for me. If things work for other people, that's great, but I can't offer that unless it really just comes up and is like, something is just, I need to say it. But other than that, I don't. You're shown what you're being shown what you need to see, and that's it. and that's okay. And I think that if you embrace that, you'll find more love in your heart and more of this fresh perspective this month. And I think I was even expecting to read from you. It's not easy, especially if you are thinking about leaving a relationship, and wanting to be more separate from that, or things just aren't adding up in the relationship that you're in. Things need to be aired out and talked about, because they can end more peacefully this month and maybe next or the next, because we get closer to the holidays. Not that that is always a reason to avoid things. I just think that it sometimes can make it harder depending on if you have a family or not. For some of you, you're really realizing that this isn't the way you're wanting your life to go, and you really need to speak up, or your partner speaks up to you and you're both in agreement that this isn't working anymore, or you guys want different things now, and things need to be handled, essentially. And the more that you handle the things that are really like the elephant in the room, or the thing that you can't, or you're avoiding talking about, but it's all you can think about, or it's all you can talk about, and then it distracts you from things that are really important, because there's a lot of amazing things happening with you personally, within your heart, within your creative aspects in your life, with what you're wanting to share. Sorry, that noise is just where my feet are. And it's a beautiful, sacred month for you. And I don't use that word like lightly. So I would take it for what it is and enjoy the freedom of being yourself in a way that it's almost going to feel like a huge sigh, because it's something that you've been thinking about for a while, and you're finally letting it out without being without it coming out brash. It's something you've thought about maybe for a couple months now. All right, Sagittarius, all information to work with me one-on-one is below. Extended second part is below, and so is my podcast. Sorry about the last one. I guess the audio isn't so easy to hear, so another one will be coming out soon. Have a good month.